Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and welcome to the first chat with me. So, if you read the description or saw my video, I think it was at the end of last week, I said that I was going to try something a little bit different. So, we were going to do kind of like a Q&A or let me tell you some things. So, as I wrote in the description, I thought that the best spot to start might be with workshop guides. So you guys hear me say it every single time when I start a video. I say, hi guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful layouts from start to finish with easy to follow guides. So I get lots of questions about all things workshop guide related. So just give me 1 second here. I'm just going to share us over into my group and we will get started. So I thought that I might give you just a little bit of background for starters as to what a workshop guide is, because I say it all the time. And sometimes I just take it for granted that people actually know what I'm talking about. So I do design workshop guides. So a workshop guide, if you think of it from the standpoint of, it's like if you ever sewed or took home ec or any of those things, or even when you cook. So when you cook, you use a recipe to get a final result. So a workshop guide is kind of that thing. So a workshop guide will help you take the ingredients and do the things that you need to do to it with the directions, and your final result is an end product. So in most instances, my workshop guides are for scrapbooking layouts. I also do card workshops, and I've done some mini album workshops. There's like a whole variety of different workshops, but probably my most popular workshops are scrapbooking workshops. So what I do is I take the ingredients, or in this case, a supply list, and I cut it up and rework it and put it back together as scrapbooking layouts. So I use close to my heart products because I am a close to my heart consultant. So those are generally the products or the ingredients that go into a scrapbooking workshop. Okay, so I'm just going to look at my questions. I have like behind me here a listing of some of the questions. So what is a workshop guide? So basically it is an electronic download. I'll explain a little bit about that later. But it is an electronic pattern or recipe that you can use to take those ingredients and create the exact same things that I've created, but at home, fully tested and thought through, so your pages will look the same as mine in the end. You add your own photographs to it. Okay, so what is a workshop guide? So why do I create workshop guides? Okay, so this is kind of a loaded question, but I started creating workshop guides because one thing that I saw happening with my customers was that if they took a workshop that was designed by Close to My Heart, or they took a pack of paper and started cutting it up and they started creating with it, that they had lots of stuff left over at the end. I'm sure you guys all know what I'm talking about, those bags or envelopes or pockets that you have a little bit left over in, but you don't want to use it right now. Yes, Lee. Okay, so I'll read the comments too as we go. So Lee said, I have used your guides to grow my skill scrapbooking, and it does actually work. And then Judy's saying, I find the guides easy to use and I can pick up and choose the details that I like to. So I'm just going to go back to why I started doing them. So I started doing them, like I said, because my customers had piles of stuff that they weren't finishing or using all up. So they were sitting in bags and they were sitting on their shelves. So the reason that I started doing them and how they've kind of evolved is that those products, those ingredients that I take, you're going to have so little left over at the end that you don't feel bad, A, either about throwing them away, or B, maybe you have enough for a card. In some instances, not even that, but you feel like you're accomplishing something with the products that you have. So, okay. Then, so how can I get them? So, because I say it all the time, I design them. So where can I read about them? So if you look at my blog, which is chrisscreativelife.com, there's a whole section on workshop guides. So there's other stuff on my blog. You can sign up for my newsletter. You can read regular blog posts, but there is a section, you can read about me, but there is a section that's just all workshop guides. And so all the workshop guides that I have been creating for over the years all sit there. So that is also another question that I get is, can I still get a workshop guide for X, Y, or Z? If it's in the time that I've been doing them, they're all still there. So if you have older product that you come across that you want to use up, it's a great way to use it very quickly and accomplish something and get it finished. But if you go there, you can see all my workshop guides. So there's 3 ways, basically, you can get a workshop guide. A, you can purchase them. The workshop guides, they vary in prices, but they typically range between $12 and $15. That's typical. There are some bigger ones that are a little bit more. There's some older ones that are a little bit less, but that's just the range. So, and you can purchase them all directly there from my website at chrisscreativelife.com. Okay, so that's way number 1. Way number 2 is if you make a purchase from my Close to My Heart website for every $35 you purchase before taxes and shipping, after a discount, like if you're a VIP customer with me, you get 1 workshop guide for every $35 that you spend. So if you spend $100, you just divide that by 35 and you can figure out how many workshop guides you get. Or the third way is to join my team. So I actually get this question quite a bit, and I actually had an email this morning. So all the consultants that are signed up under me for Close to My Heart get to use all my workshop guides. There is a space where they can find them, and they're all there. So to join my team, though, I am Canadian, and so Close to My Heart stipulates that in order to be on my team, you also have to be Canadian. Also, to purchase from me, you have to be Canadian. That is Close to My Heart's rules. Unfortunately, I can't do anything to change that. So those are, though, the 3 ways you can get them. So if you don't fall into the last 2 categories, you can always go and purchase them for yourself on my website. If you're a consultant, don't forget that it's a tax write-off for you too. Okay, so then this is another question I get. Okay, so let's say I purchase a workshop guide we're just going to use Smarty Pants, for example, because it's one of the bigger, more recent ones that I just released. So let's say I purchase the Smarty Pants workshop guide, and I use it for the Smarty Pants products that are in your recipe. Then can I use those again? And the answer is yes, absolutely. So I'll give you a prime example. So I got a message from somebody who had purchased an older workshop guide, and it was just a thank you email. And she said, at this point, I hadn't started producing the workshop guides for the annual idea book. They have started to roll out now. Smarty Pants is up, and As You Grow is coming very soon. But so I hadn't started doing the guides for the annual. And so she'd purchased an older workshop guide, and her message to me said, my plan is actually to take that workshop guide and use it on As You Grow. So that is totally an option. Like once it's yours, you can create it over and over and over again, right? So, and actually I know people that do that all the time. So it was another six double page spread layout workshop that she purchased, and it was from years ago. So she just switched out the paper and obviously used the new embellishments and all of those kind of things on it. If you guys have questions too, put them in the comments and I'll come back and answer them after. Also, if you have something that you'd like me to talk about during Chat with Chris, add it to the comments and we're going to start a little list. So can I use it again and again? Okay. So then people want to know, and it does say on my website, but I just thought I would talk about it for a second. People want to know, so what's included in a workshop guide? So I brought Smarty Pants here just because I thought I would show you. So like I said, it's an electronic file that you receive. So there is, this is always weird because it's backwards. There is a cover page that if you're just doing this for at home, for your own scrapbook pages, you don't necessarily need to print it, right? And it does come to you as like an email automatic download. If you don't need something, you don't have to print it, right? But then there is the recipe or the directions and supply list. So this is the Smarty Pants supply list. And then it goes into general workshop tips. They don't really change. They're kind of the same because it's kind of the same premise each time. Then I go into general processes, and then there's the backgrounds. So you know, it would be like if you were cooking something, what pan to use or something like that. And then there are suggested photo sizes. So also the question I get a lot too is, well, can I use different size photos? Absolutely. I on purpose design layouts with lots of room on the layout. So they use standard size photographs are the suggested sizes, but you could totally change them up. So for example, layout number 1 has 3 3x3s, 2 4x4s, and 2 4x6s. But if you have 3 4x6s and a cropped 4x4, you can make that work in the same space. I try and leave everything pretty open so that if you don't necessarily have the same kind of photos that I'm suggesting or saying, then swap them out for your own photos. I'll also give you a really good tip. If you purchase a workshop guide from me, there is always a sheet of cardstock that I use to cut up for photo mats. I like a little bit of the extra color behind my photos. If you don't know what photos you're going to put on your pages when you're assembling them, don't start cutting up that piece of paper, cardstock, for your photo mats. Just put it behind your page, and then when you're ready to add your photos, if you're doing it after, then cut up your mats, and you can then match them to your own photograph sizes, right? And then there are the page-by-page directions with, there is a before photo. So it shows you kind of the rough page before you add all the extra stuff on top. Because once you add photo mats and embellishments and a title and all your stickers, if you're just looking at that photograph, sometimes it's hard to figure out what's going on the bottom layer. So I added this in. So these are all the before you add all the extras on top photographs. And so I do one of those with a little bit of directions for all of the pages. Then, so this is the photo I'm talking about. So this photo has all the embellishments, all the photo mats, all the stuff on the page. So if it's hard to determine what's going on underneath, you can use the other one. This is for once you have those pieces and you kind of want it ready to decorate it up. So then there's a large photo with a couple of detail photos so you can kind of get the general idea of where everything goes. So then, but before you use that, you would need to use the cutting guide. But so there's a full cutting guide. It's in color and it shows you exactly how to cut the papers out so you end up with the same results as I do. So you can see at the top, this is just who I am, where I am. So it shows you the paper that you're cutting up. And then this is the reverse side of the paper. It shows you exactly how to cut it up, what you'll have extras. And then there's a little legend on the bottom if you get lost along the way, which are just basically height, like how to cut your paper up and what some of the terms might mean. And then if there are PML cards in the workshop, I tell you what to do with them, whether you need to cut them up or whatever. And then the last document that comes is a consultant release. So if you're a consultant, it just means you can do different things with the files. But if anybody ever has any questions, they typically just email me about them. Okay, so then the next question that I get all the time is, okay, so I go to your website and I purchase a workshop guide, then what happens? So last year, I think it was in March, I had my whole website redesigned. So there have been changes over the courses of the years. And as technology gets better and online systems advance and all those fun things, there were changes to my website. So when you purchase something from my website, I get notified, but you should, in theory, if there's no cyber hiccups or anything like that, within typically a few minutes, you receive an email back from my system, because I had a system installed that basically will auto-deliver an email. And it says, thank you for your purchase. And it's whatever workshop guide you have purchased. We're going to use Smarty Pants again for an example, because that's one of the most recent ones. So it says, thank you for your purchase of the Smarty Pants workshop. And then in your email, there is a download link. And that download link will take you to a Dropbox, and it's instant. So those files that I showed you are instantly in that Dropbox for you. And you can download them and save them onto your own computer to use later. If anybody has problems, they can totally ask. If somebody doesn't receive their files within an hour at the most, then they just send me an email and I look into it. Because sometimes, for sure, stuff does happen. The biggest probably issue that I found with the new system is that like carriers are sometimes blocking them because they've got downloads or attachments in them. So for example, like Gmail, if you have a Gmail address, it seems to go to the promotions folder for some reason. I'm assuming it has something to do with the fact that it says thank you for your purchase in the subject of the workshop. Okay, so I think that's the big questions. And then, so one other question that I do quite often get, sorry, I'm just gonna have a sip of my tea because I've been like talking a lot. It's kind of cold here today, so it's also good. Okay, so then the last thing is sometimes people are confused about the Chris's Creative Club. So the easiest way to explain it is I set it up when Close to My Heart changed the catalog schedule so that we went to a rotating 2-month schedule. I had lots of people ask me about getting the workshops together for an idea book. So I set up Chris's Creative Club. You don't have to renew it. It was so that you could get the 2 workshops for each idea book together. You would pay for them once and then they just get delivered to your inbox when they're ready. You're going to see in 2022, I have a little bit of, I think I'm going to tweak that club a little bit so that if you want it to auto renew, we'll just make that happen. So right now you have to actually request each idea book. So it's like you don't have to, if you order Candid Moments and Wonderland, which are the November and December workshop guides, you don't have to take the January, February, which I can't say what the names of them are. You don't have to take that. So it's just like a one-time purchase. So in 2022, though, I'm going to add an option where if you want to be automatically invoiced for the next set of idea books, you can be, basically. But I haven't started that yet. But if somebody would like to be on that list, I can totally make that happen. It's just a matter of trying to figure out dates of when that would happen. And so one of the things people ask me about the club is, do you just automatically get them when they're ready to go? Yes. So for example, Candid Moments was ready to go and then Wonderland came after. It's not very often that I can actually have both workshops finished and ready to go for the first month of the idea book. Typically, I try and get the one done that's going to be current right away. Everybody knows Close to My Heart has like a collection that they promote during the month. So for example, right now it's Wonderland. But Candid Moments was in November. So before November 1st, Candid Moments was ready to go and then Wonderland came after. So if somebody asked to join the club in September, around the end of September when I had Candid Moments ready to go, then if they joined the club, Wonderland automatically got sent to them as soon as it was ready to go, which was, I think, 6 days into the month of November, if I remember correctly, but I'm not 100% certain. So I just wanted to kind of clear that up because I do get a lot of questions about, well, if I join the club, do I have to stay in it? Right now, absolutely not. And I would never make anybody stay in a club they don't want to stay in. So you're not forced to. It's just a way that I could deliver both the workshops kind of with a little bit of savings because it was one last thing that I had to invoice, etc. So it just comes as one single invoice and you get both of them when they're ready to go. I think that kind of clears up the Chris's Creative Club questionings that I get. And then, so I think the last question I'll do for today is it kind of relates, and you'll know as soon as you hear the question that it's from a consultant. But the question is, typically, how long in advance do you have the workshops ready to go? And that's kind of a loaded question, and it kind of depends on a few things. So it depends kind of on how advanced we get the product. Like I said, it's not very often that I have both workshops ready to go for the next idea book before it launches. It has happened before, but it doesn't happen very often, and it just has to do with timing and all of those things. But always, since I've started doing it, the first collection for that idea book cycle, it has been ready to go before the launch date. So that kind of answers that question, I think. So I hope you guys enjoyed all these little details. And I see I have a down feather on me. If you have more questions that I haven't answered, but I thought we might as well take one of the ones that I get the most questions about first, and answer them. But like I said, if you have any questions, I am more than willing to answer them. So it's not like the Wizard of Oz back here is creating workshop guides or workshops, and I'm not ready to share what they actually are or what you get or any of those things with you. But so I hope you enjoyed today. And like I said, if you have any more questions or something that you would like to hear me chat about, please add it to the comments below, and we'll talk to you later, guys. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.